Alright guys, so let me see if you guys can see this. And of course, I closed out my screen again. But this is the project that we're going to be working on. And if you guys looked on my Facebook page or on Helmar's Facebook page, I said go ahead and raid your husband's wood shop or their garage and just grab a piece of scrap wood. And that's exactly what I did. I don't know if you guys have heard, but I think I might have mentioned it randomly. My dear hubby is working on a surprise for me. He's making me a fun table out of just, again, scrap woods that he had lying around in the um, in the garage, and he's actually building in a built-in kind of, I don't know, drawer thing where I can store all of my Helmar products. So I am so excited about that. Once it's done, I'll definitely show you. But this is basically just a scrap piece of 2x4. He had it lying around and I just grabbed it. And I decided to just kind of wrap it up with some scrap papers. And literally it is scrap papers. And then on the front of it, I just added, again, scrap embellishments. Nothing too fancy, just things I had lying around in my craft room. So some buttons, some of the Tim Holtz sprocket gears. These are the letters from my new stamp set that you guys have seen. I just went ahead and I cut them with the with a, what is it? I think it's a 3/4 inch circle punch. I added this fun little, where is it? I'm pointing on the wrong side, sorry. This little tag here. And then again down here, you can't see it very clear, but once I go ahead and I switch camera views, you'll be able to see all of the details. So super, super fun. Yeah, and I'll definitely be sharing the table with you guys because like I said, he's putting a built-in for me so I can store all of my Helmar products because I love having them next to me and I don't like them having to reach for them. So you'll see what he's making for me. Really, really fun. Hey Dana, I just shipped out your Helmar goodies, so you should be getting them very, very soon. So let me go ahead and switch cameras now. And I'm just going to look at the chat really quick, see if you guys have any questions. Is the volume okay? Okay, good. So let's just switch views. Oh, you know what? Well, I can show it in the other view, show you the products that I'm using for this. So let's switch to this. Okay. Okay, so now you should be able to see this. And this is the project, and this is what I was talking about. Here is that little, and believe it or not, this is chipboard. It's not a metal embellishment, and I'll show you how I made that. And then, again, these are just pop, what are they? Dimensioned with some zap dots. And then these, I put them on here with the Helmar 450, but I don't know if you guys know, this scrap dots is probably the absolute best thing to use for embellishments, and I just am very frugal about it because I'm afraid to use it because I want to save it. But I'm going to use it today. I'm going to use it because I love adding dimension and putting stuff on my projects on an angle, and with the scrap dots you can do that. It works perfectly. And one of the things that I did on here was these buttons are all set on an angle, so I think this is what I'm going to use for sure for that. This picture right here of my little baby, I'm just going to use some Helmar tape runner. It's super duper adhesive, so it works perfectly for making sure that this is on here securely. The zap dots that I'm using are the 1/4 inch, I'm sorry, the 1/2 inch and the 1/4 inch squares. And then, of course, I'm going to be using my new stamp set for the letters. We have the 3/4 inch circle punch. Got to use some Timmy because you guys know how much I love him. And then here are these sprockets. The other thing that I'm using too is, and don't get mad at me for doing this, but this is the new, what do you call this? The Vintage Trinkets by Marian Smith from Prima. And I'm actually going to cut up some of these chains because I think it has too many in here. And I'm going to use those to embellish this also. And then the super duper amazing product that I'm going to be mainly featuring today is going to be the Helmar Decoupage and Craft Paste. This is my new favorite adhesive. It works perfectly. I love decoupaging stuff. My challenge has been in the past that when I use extra thick papers, I never get really good results on my projects. And with this one, I don't even have to think about the thickness of the paper. It works perfectly. I use one of these bone folders just to kind of help the edges along the way, but you really don't even need it. So this is what I'm going to be using. So I'm going to go ahead and move this project over to the side, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So let's just move all this stuff over. Oh, and you guys are probably wondering why I have this brush in here. It's probably just one of the things I do. If I'm still working on my project, I leave a semi-moist wipe around it so that it stays moist while I'm using it. So it doesn't mess up the product or anything. It just makes sure that my brush doesn't dry up before I use it again. And I usually start and stop, so just put a little wipe on it, and you don't even have to press it on it, just lightly so the moisture stays there. So here we go. So here goes a piece of scrap wood that I just kind of ransacked from the garage, and it has some kind of what do we call it? Some sharp edges, and I have a little, if I can find it right now, where did I put that little man? I'm looking for my file, but I kind of filed it anyway, so I don't think I'm going to really need to do that. So let's go ahead and take, oh, here we go. Of course, now that I need it, so I just kind of sand the edges, make sure there's no sharp marks around it. And you don't really need to do this to so that the paste adheres. If you don't sand it, the paste will adhere just as perfectly. It's just I don't want any splinters. Yep, that's the word. So there you go, nice and sanded off. And then we'll go ahead and open our decoupage. Can you transfer techniques with it? I'm not sure. I'm not really going to be following the chat very closely, so if you guys have any questions, definitely ask Tracy. But if you have something that you want to ask me directly, just type my name in caps, and hopefully I'll be able to stop and just look, or send me a personal message so that I know that you need me to look up. So this is just one of those simple 1-inch foam brushes. You can get them at any craft store. Super inexpensive. You don't need anything fancy for this. So you basically just dip into the jar, and what I do is I like putting a nice coat on the wood before putting the paper down. So I just put it right on the wood, and I find that this works best on the wood because, you know, the wood is not perfect, and it has kind of it can have imperfections and kind of some dents in it. So when I put it this way, I know that the glue is going perfectly into the wood, versus putting it on the paper and then putting the paper on it. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's whatever your preference is. And one thing that you guys will notice, I don't have any particular way of putting this because the Helmar decoupage dries super, super clear, and it doesn't leave any like crinks and everything. It kind of just, I don't know, flattens out, for lack of a better term. So you see how now I'm kind of see like little brush marks? When it dries, it just completely smooths out. There we go. Smooths out is what I was looking for. Let me just show you again. This is the one that I had made, and it's kind of matte, not too shiny. It's perfect because it kind of maintains the integrity of your project. You see, it looks a little shiny, but it's not overly shiny. It is really awesome stuff. So there goes that, and then I'm just going to grab my papers and just kind of place them on here. And this is a 2x4 piece of wood, nothing fancy. And I don't know if you guys know, just because it's called 2x4 doesn't mean that it is 2x4. We figured that out when we were making my table. Yeah, the shine is awesome because again, it's a little shiny, but it's not overly shiny. I would call it kind of eggshell if you want to compare it to paints. So, and then I'm just gonna kind of go like this with my little bone folder. And don't worry about getting glue on top of it. Again, it's gonna dry on there perfectly clear. So, and then I'm just gonna put a coat on top because this is gonna seal the paper on my project. And don't be afraid of adding too much or too little. You guys see, I'm literally going in every direction. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. So just like that. And then because my 2x4 is, the edges are kind of round, and obviously my paper is kind of, it's straight, I just kind of just take my bone folder and I just kind of help the edges along, because now that it's nice and wet, it'll just mold onto the project. So like that. And when I show you my project, the one that I did earlier, you'll see how seamless it is around the edges. You can't even tell that there's anything on here. It looks as if it's kind of been shrink wrapped onto your project. So the bone folder works really well. If you're not using something that has round edges, you probably don't even need to do this. I just think it kind of speeds up the process, so I just like doing that. So just like that. Let me just grab a wipe because I forget to clean my bone folder and then it's always all stuck all over me. So again, I'm just gonna kind of clean it up a little bit. Make sure that everything is nicely flat on here, like that. And that's pretty much it. That's all there is to it. So I'm just cleaning my mat. Not sure what that is. Alright, I don't know if I'm following the chat, but I'll just continue. So you see that I just finished doing that, and what I'm going to do is, before the show, I went ahead and I made another one, but believe it or not, this dries very quickly. I made mine probably at about, I don't know, 7 o'clock, and it's completely dry. And if you want to help it along, all you have to do is use one of your heat tools. The only thing that I recommend is that when you do it high above. Don't go too close to it, because anytime you go too close to any kind of product, you're going to make it bubble. So you don't want to do that. So just as you dry it lightly. But with this, there's no reason for you to rush it. Put it to the side, let it dry. It takes just a few minutes, and it's perfect. So I'm just going to move this over to the side. So here goes the one that I did earlier. And like I said, this is the one that I did about 7 o'clock. So it didn't take too long, and you see it's totally dry. And you see I didn't cover up the back because most of the embellishments are on the front, so I kind of just wanted to give you an idea of how it worked. But super easy, and literally it's flat. Like you can't even feel all of the textures of the paper. It's just perfect. So the next thing I did for this was I took my baby's photo, and here it goes. And I probably should have cut this out beforehand, but one of the things I did, I don't know if Helmar sells anything, but a sealant to put on here, I always seal, and these are printed on my computer, I always seal them with Preserve Your Memories. It makes the photos waterproof. So if you drop anything, you get any extra adhesive on the photo, you're not going to have to worry about it, because that definitely seals it. So I don't know if Helmar has something like that, but if they do, I definitely try it out. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I don't have that, so I didn't know to use it, but I'll definitely use it going forward. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the photo out. You see, really easy. All I'm doing is I'm going kind of around the hard lines of the baby's body, like that. Acrylic sealers will work. Yeah, Helmar has so many products. It's like every time I think that I've tried everything that they have, I find out that there's so much more. So I definitely stop by the Helmar site and find out what's going on, or ask one of us. We can always inquire for you, or email Tracy. So I'm just going to kind of crunch it up, because you guys know this is kind of what I've been doing, the whole vintagey thing. So I'm just going to add a little bit. I don't like having those stark white edges, so I just do like that, just so that it's not so white. Does it say anything about glass? Is that for the decoupage you're asking? And then I'm just going to use my tape runner to adhere this on the back. So you see, you don't have to use liquid adhesives or anything like that. This the tape runner works perfectly to adhere these kind of printed photos. So I'm just gonna put him like this, and you see I kind of offset it so it's hanging off of the piece of wood, right? And you see, perfect. He's not coming off. It's actually securely on now. Oh, and look, I left the sticker of the stud so you guys knew that it was a piece of stud that I took from the room. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how I made this, because I know I've been getting a lot of questions about it. And I'll move this over. I just grabbed one of these little chipboard, what are these called? I don't know what they're even called. Just like a little metal border. And I put it inside my Versa marking. So I'm just going to kind of dunk it in here like this. And this is one of those things when you don't have a metal embellishment lying around and you just want something to look kind of like faux metal. This is what I do. So I'm just dunking it into my Versa mark. And I'm going to flip it around. And then I'll just grab, oops, I wet that piece of paper, that's okay. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to take some of my gold embossing powder. So I'm just kind of going to sprinkle it over like this. And you see how I'm kind of doing it very lightly and scattered, not anything perfect. That's because I want it to be two-tone. So I'm going to do a goldish blackish look. Yep, it's a nameplate. That's what it is. And I'm just going to scatter some black on it like that now. Let's put a little bit more. So it gives it a really funky effect, like that. I'm going to go ahead and lift it, and I'm not going to shake it off. Normally, you know how you would shake off the embossing powder. I'm not going to do that because I want it to be a little thick. Okay, guys, so hold your ears now because I'm going to be turning on the embossing tool. Shouldn't be too loud, but rather be safe than sorry. So I'm just heating it up now, just to get that effect. Okay, and that's it. Simple as that. If you don't have a metal nameplate, there you go. So now we have this plate that kind of looks like it's metal, and it has the little black touches on it. So the next thing I did was I took just a little piece of scrap paper, and I put established in 2010 just because my baby was born in 2010. So I just thought it was something fun and whimsical. And we're just going to go ahead and glue this on. Again, I'm going to just use my tape runner to just put some adhesive. And I think I've officially run out of tape runner. This is the second one I've used today. I've been crafting a lot lately. And I'm just going to put a little bit around here. And just adhere it down like that. And then I'm just going to trim around it. So I'm going to look up and see what you guys are saying. See if I'm missing anything from the chat. And now since I'm just cutting, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. I need more tape runner. Thanks, Cindy. Alright, so I just cut that out, and let me see if I can find this little doohickey that I have here. It's just a piercing tool, and I'm just going to poke 2 holes in here. Normally I would have wouldn't have cut out the way I did, but because I did, I just have to pierce a hole. And then I'm just going to grab 2 of these little brads. Doesn't matter what colors. I think I'm just going to use black just so that it pops out a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to use the 2 that I grabbed first. And these just look kind of like an antique metal. sometimes crafting when your nails are a little long is not so easy. So there goes that, and now I'll put this other one here as well. And normally, again, when I don't have brads, I just make my own little embellishment, and then I just glue it on with 450. So I just happen to have these around, so I'm going to use them. And there is that. So again, I'm just going to take my tape runner and just put some there. And bring my little project back over here. And I'm going to put this like this, kind of offset on the bottom of his feet. So you guys see where we're going with this. The next thing I have is one of these cute little die cuts. Lately, because I don't really have time to cut and do stuff with like my die cutting machines, I have been buying a bunch of these and I love them. So just these pre-cut little vintage die cuts are awesome when you're kind of in a crunch, but you still want to make a fun project. So there is that. And then I'm just going to put this little card here. I'm going to go ahead and use I think for this I used both sizes because I wanted to give it really good dimension. I want people to be able to touch it and play with it and not have to worry about it falling off or, you know, sinking in certain places. So I'm just going to be a little generous on the back with my zap dots. And you guys know that I love these black zap dots. These are actually 2 new packs, and I've already gone through a whole page of each. So don't be afraid to use your products. I know that I used to be like that, and now I feel like I need to use them because there's no reason why I should be collecting them. What am I using? These are Helmar Zap Dots, and they're square, and they come in 1/4 of an inch and in 1/2 an inch. And they're really, really inexpensive, and the quality is amazing. These are the only dimensionals that I will ever use. I've used other things in the past, and I've never been satisfied with the way they work. And ever since I discovered the Helmar ones, I've been completely in love. Folks actually make fun of me because I don't know if you noticed in the beginning of the broadcast, the curtains behind me are white with black dots, and folks say that it's like a subliminal message because I love this the Helmar Zap Dots, the polka dot, the circle ones so much that I decided to buy my curtains to match them. So, and they come with these little black covers on them, so you just pull them off like that. And you see how super sticky they are? They're awesome. So just like this. So now we have this little thing here. This one's embellished, established in 2010, and now my little happy car. I'll move these over to the side. Then the next thing I did was I went ahead, can you guys see that? And I took the stamp set and I just wrote the baby's name. So his name is Lucas. So I always have a problem finding anything with his name because his name is not spelled traditionally. It's spelled with a K versus a C. So when you have, you know, an alphabet set, you can just pretty much create whatever you want. So kind of the reason why I went ahead with the stuff that I did. So I'm just going to ahead and put some more zap dots, and these again are just a black 1/4 inch squares. Yeah, I don't worry anymore about the Jess, what ink are you using with Tim? Vintage Photo. It's my absolute favorite Tim Holtz. It's on my desk religiously. It's just Vintage Photo. I try to venture out into other colors and I can't. It's just my thing. I just love that very vintagey distressed look. I don't think it's going anywhere. I've noticed that the more and more crafty products that come out, the more and more vintagey and Victorian they go. So, hey, scrapbooking queen. You're so funny, Teresa. So, There we go. So I'm just going to put him like right here, kind of on top of the car, but still that you can see the details of the wheels on the bottom. And then, where is that other piece of paper I had? I didn't go ahead and I stamped all of them. I just stamped some of them. So here I went ahead and I stamped happy with my embossing powder. And if you guys are, this is what I use, right? Versamark. I'm pretty sure most people use the same thing. Or you use the Tim Holtz stuff. Gosh, I just dropped everything. Okay, give me a second. Let me just grab this from the floor. And I just stamped happy on here. And I'm just going to go ahead and use the 3/4 inch circle punch to punch these out. You see how quickly these are to do. And this is just a regular Marby punch. I just got it at the craft store. I think it might have been like, I don't know, $3 or $4. Really inexpensive. Okay, let me just make sure we are recording. Yep, we are recording. Yeah, it's super, super neat. Kind of looks like, you know, typewriter keys. So now I just have happy, and I'm going to just turn them around and put a zap dot on the back of each of these. And again, you can put them on there. You can probably even use scrap dots on there, but because I have my zap dots out, I'm going to go ahead and use my zap dots. And this paper tends to be a little, it's not expensive paper, it's thin paper, because a lot of punches you can't really use very fancy papers in it. So I think the zap dots will work a lot better. And I don't have any drying time, which is awesome. Bingo too. Versamark and white embossing powder. Yes, Versamark and white embossing powder. I love the way white embossing powder looks on just black paper. So that's what I did on here. So let me just turn them around like this. And I'll raise it up so you guys can see how clear that is. It's just like super duper duper clear. I love the whiteness of it. It's super opaque. So then I'm just going to go ahead and kind of scatter them on top. Nothing, no rhyme or reason here, just kind of just playing with this piece. And I mean, you see that I'm doing this kind of just with my baby's birthday, just birth photos. But this would be so fun to make, you know, for any occasion, birthday party, even for like fun party favors. I'm sure wedding, if you had just a specific theme where you wanted to put like your engagement photos and have each table have a different engagement photo, how cool would that be? Lower the project. Got it. White gel pens. I happen to have one on my desk because I use it all the time. Jelly Roll. They're by Sakura. That's what I use. Banner and Bites. Yeah, it's just really fun. And again, all this was, the base was a 2x4 piece of scrap wood. So there we go. So now it says happy. And let's see. I'm surprised that this is going by so quickly. I actually thought it was going to take a little bit longer. That's why I kind of went ahead and I did some of the work in advance. So let me just look up and see if you guys have any questions so far. I don't have any rules for storing gel pens. I just stick them in the same way I store my regular pens. That's how I store my gel pens. I don't know if there is a rule, but I've never had an issue with them. They're on their side. Yeah, in the stores they sell them on their side, so maybe that's the way you should have them. But I don't keep them that way, and I've never had an issue with them. You stamp, can we see them? I missed the event. Oh, cool. Yeah, I can show you really quick as I'm doing this. Here's the one that I used for this. It's called Say It in Type, and it's just a bunch of lowercase and uppercase letters in a really vintagey font, type font, with a lot of symbols and numbers in it. So just really fun to play with, especially on a project like this where you really can't find a sentiment that works for it, and you want to personalize it. Works perfectly. Okay, so let's move this, and I'm just going to grab some of these Tim Holtz sprocket gears. I find that Helmar's 450 works perfect on this. I know that for some metal embellishments, scrap dots is the only thing that works. And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, Tracy. It's kind of like rubber based, and because it's dimensional, you can put it as thick or as thin as you want. And what's great is that it'll hold anything on any angle that you put it on. So I think that's a really, really good feature. And once it's on and it's dry, it's on. So another thing that I find that's awesome, and let me just bring scrap dots over, is that because it has a little bit of a drying time, however it holds your product down securely, you can always pick it up and move it around and place it somewhere else. So you have a lot of flexibility with the scrap dots and the way that I craft, and I kind of just switch around with my projects and my ideas. This is the kind of stuff that you want to use because I mean, it's very versatile and it gives you a lot of flexibility with your project. So I'm just gonna grab, which one did I use? Just, you guys see this pack right here? My daughter bought it for me for Christmas, and it's taken me like, I don't know, this long to use it because I felt sad using it. I don't know, they're so cute. So, and yeah, scrap dots stick perfectly to metal. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start gluing these on, and I'm not gonna put too much because I'm not using it because of the dimension as much, whereas I'm using, well, I guess I am kind of using it for dimension. I'm more using it because I want it to be on an angle. So, okay, so just gonna put this one like that. And then you see there's some glue that I kind of put extra, but that's okay because I'm gonna put some buttons on there as well. And then here goes the buttons. I just have this little random drawer of buttons here. And since I have some little excess glue that I put there, I'm just gonna put that one there. And just put another little bit on here. And kind of offset. And I'll just show you now exactly what I was talking about on an angle. You see how I kind of put the white button where it's kind of, the bottom is touching the wood, but the top is not? Perfect for putting things on an angle. Works amazing. You see, it's not falling off. I mean, I'm shaking this. It's not going anywhere. It's perfect. So I'm just going to move the metal because I wanted to show a little bit more and the buttons to stick out. Then you guys saw that I put memories here, and I didn't do it earlier because I thought it was just going to take too much time, but that's okay. I'll assume that it does say memories there. So I'm just going to put, again, some scrap dots on here, and this one's just going to go like this. And then we're just going to grab some random buttons again and just put them, let's see, what colors do we want here? So I'm just going to look up and see if you guys have any questions so far. What do you think of the project so far? Again, there's no rules to this project, which makes it so much fun because you're kind of just working with your scraps and your embellishments that you kind of have lying around that you normally wouldn't use, or they kind of would just go into, you know, that empty nowhere kind of place. Gluing what to the photo? So let's just add one more button here, like this. Okay, so I'll show you this again. See it, how it's on an angle? Super cool. And then I'm just going to put this one, put some on here as well. And I'm going to put that one on here on top of my little name tag. And for this one, I decided that I was going to put some of this hemp twine within the button. I could have done that for all of the buttons and just added a little bit more texture to it, but I didn't. So I just did it for one of them. So I'm just running the twine through the button like this. And then I'm just doing a simple knot. I think we're doing okay on time. Yep, I think we are. Okay, so see, it's just a little knot and it's a little bit of excess, so we're just gonna cut it off. Sorry, I keep getting out of camera, but I'm just cutting, nothing fancy. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put some scrap dots on here too. And this one I want to kind of pop up, so I'm gonna put it on there like that, a little bit thicker so that it pops up a little bit more. So you see how it has now some really fun dimension on it. Then I'm gonna grab this, and I know it's sacrilegious to cut your trinkets, but that's how I use them. I want to make the most out of my, where did I put that little lid for my scrap dots? I like covering my scrap dots when I'm not using it. Oh, look at this. It's already on there. Haha. Sorry. So silly, right? But I like going back to the whole cutting my trinkets. I like getting the most out of my projects, and I feel that there's an awful lot of chain on here, and I know that no one will notice when I put this chain on their project that it has a couple of the chains missing. So don't tell Marion, but I'm cropping it. I'm sure she'll be fine with it, actually. So I'm just going to cut 2 of these little chains off. You'll know. No, don't tell her. Okay, so I'm just cutting 2, and you see? There's nothing wrong with it. It still looks like a really cute tassel. So, yeah, but the people that I'm going to give this gift to, they won't know, Tracy. They'll just think it looks really cool the way it is and won't even notice that there's 2 little chains missing. So, is this Tim Holtz? No, it's by Prima, and it's actually Marion Smith's new vintage trinket lines. And if you guys are not familiar with it, Marion Smith absolutely loves scrap dots. Scrap dots is the only thing that holds her trinkets amazingly. So if you see Marion working on a project and she's featuring her vintage trinkets, you're guaranteed to see scrap dots in it. And that's the other reason why I used it today, because I wanted you guys to see that the scrap dots work amazing on metal. So here we go. So I'm just going to put a little bit of scrap dots on there. And let's see. Just going to lay that little puppy there. Oh, sorry. So you see I just put the scrap dots on there and laid the metal on there. And now I'm just going to, again, go ahead and grab some more buttons and just scatter them around. And again, you see, no rhyme or reason for this project. Just put them anywhere. You probably could make this look really pretty with some flowers as well and just make it really girly. So lots and lots of ways of personalizing this and making it your own. So there, a few more buttons. And I'm just going to wipe my hands. I like to clean my hands as I craft. I don't know. It's probably a really bad habit. Yeah, I love Marion too. She's amazing. She's probably one of the first folks that I used to watch on YouTube and Ustream, and it just kind of catapulted from there. So, okay, and then I'm just going to grab this other little sprocket that's over here, like this. And again, put some more scrap dots on there. You guys see how gooey that is? Just a really nice dimension. And the thing is, this is not going to drip on you. Like, you can shake this. Once you put it there, it's staying there. So that's another thing that I love about the scrap dots. You're not going to make a big old mess all over the place with it. then you don't bet. Yeah, you're right. It probably isn't a bad habit. I guess because I'm so anal about always cleaning the baby's hands and stuff that I kind of feel like I always have to have a pack of wipes by me. So again, just putting little random buttons around here. Let's put a big old giant one over here. And I'm kind of being a little more generous with the buttons on this one than I was on my first project because I feel that I kind of under buttoned before. So, and the scrap dots are so much fun to play with that it just makes me want to add more and more stuff because I know that it's going to give me that depth and that dimension that I definitely love seeing in projects. So, and then again, another one of those little chains by Marion, and I'm just going to put a little blob there and then just put the metal on it because I know it's going to keep it nice and secure. And then again, I'm just going to close my scrap dots because I like having them closed while I'm working. I don't want them to dry up on me. And I think that's kind of it, other than the fact that it's missing the memories on the side. And I didn't cover the other sides, but you guys know that that's what I did. This is pretty much the project. So you see, almost looks identical to the first one, just some slight variations. And just the fact that the memories are not there. So what do you guys think? Will I seal it? I don't have to. I probably wouldn't. I don't know. Tracy just said that Helmar has a really cool sealant, so maybe I will try that. But normally I wouldn't seal it. As long as my photo is sealed, the other stuff I don't think is going to be messed up, and that's the reason why I love embossing my stamps, because if water falls on it, nothing's going to happen to it. Rubbery or they dry hard? No, they dry hard, but not hard like as if they're going to crack on you. You know, sometimes you think because the glue is drying, it's going to crack because it's hard. No, it's not hard, but it's also not like super rubbery. I can't even, okay. It's like I'm sure it's like a super secret, but it works amazing. Don't worry. It's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna be bouncy, but it's not gonna be cracking hard. So let me just clean this over to the side. So that's kind of the way the project turned out. Yep, that's it. They do have flexibility. Thanks, Scrappy Zenny. Does it set fast? Tracy, I don't know the exact time for setting. I usually, the embellishments are pretty much the last thing that I put on my project, so that's kind of when I work with my scrap dots. And once I'm done, I just kind of set it to the side, and I don't touch it, I don't play with it, so I've never really timed it per se, but I know that when it dries perfectly. You missed it, Sleepless Wonder? Don't worry, we recorded it. And I probably will do, I don't know, a YouTube video to show you guys again how I made it, because it is really, really easy to do. If you guys saw the hardest part of it was putting on the paper, and you saw how hard that was. That was super easy. Oh, thanks, Sleepless Wonder. Yeah, I've been having fun with that. So do you guys have any questions about this? I guess I'll switch over because I'm not in a rush to leave my craft room. Tracy, your call. You think I should stop recording now? Thanks, Tracy. Let's see, so switch to Sony. Okay, so now you guys get to see my mug again. Oh, look at the hair. It's crazy again. Do I have two cameras that I switch from? Yep, I do. I have one that's built into my computer and one that I have right here, right above my desk that records my project. Oh, Dawn, don't worry. I mean, I literally didn't go over the hour, which is great. Because I know sometimes I don't like having to watch Ustreams that last too long. So if you go on, it goes by pretty quickly, and we didn't over chat too much. I think we kind of just showed the techniques really quick. So yeah, you can switch back and forth. If you look at your video source, you can actually switch your audio source as well. So if you need more info on that, let me know. Shoot me a note. I'll help you if I can. Can I show my stamps? I think I'm gonna stop the recording, and then I'll go ahead and show them so you guys can see them. All right, thanks for watching, guys.